Stepping onto that yacht changed my life like completely.
What was like the craziest tip that you've ever seen, either for yourself or a colleague?
1 month, we would make around 20K on tips each person.
Wild.
You travel the world, you make so much money, you don't pay for anything. What I struggled the most, it wasn't the job itself, but it was that completely losing my identity. Like from now on, I am just performing as Maddy the Stewardess. So I didn't have like a finishing time. I was just standing there. Sometimes the guests are maybe just like chilling and watching TV, and I'm there standing for hours being like...
Why would anybody do that?
It's so addictive. We're all just human beings. It just happens that some people believe that they can make it, and or at least they have the gut and the courage to go for a bigger dream, and they make it happen.
If you really want something, ask yourself, what is the price of getting there? Take full ownership and say, like, I'm gonna do anything.
The fear, it's literally just a safety mechanism because you don't know what's there. But once you overcome the fear, everything that I've done in my life, it always led me to something bigger and bigger and bigger and better.
What did you learn about money being surrounded by billionaires? I do a ritual every single time before I start the podcast, which includes of a handstand for at least 25 seconds.
Yeah, I'm afraid I have to leave.
I'm afraid, me too. Like my wrist and everything hurts.
Yeah, you have to stand up and show everybody how you're gonna sit.
All right, Maddy, let's get the party started. It's so nice to have you here. It's a very unique situation because I don't often have clients on my show, on my podcast. I had this, I mean, I know your story. I know the people you are surrounded by. I know some of your wild stories. You can come in, it's okay. Come in. She's afraid.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can come in.
It's okay. We don't cut this out. Just go for it. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much.
And your iconic coconut should come in a second
Yes,
as well.
I need a coconut.
You need a coconut.
It was in my vision board.
It was on your...
being here with a coconut. So.
Yeah, we need the coconut. At some point I was like, how can I make it more Bali? And so I came up with coconuts. In the future, we might do some episodes outside. But anyways, here I'm sitting with someone who is my client, someone who has been making progress very fast, which scares me sometimes, to be honest. See, we get a cliffhanger every 2 seconds. Terima kasih banyak. Wow, that's a big coconut.
Heart-shaped coconut.
Terima kasih. Wow.
Wow.
What a coconut. That's like a liter of coconut water, no? Jesus Christ. It's bigger than your head.
Oh.
And then my head too. Is it heavy?
Yeah, it's very heavy.
Jesus Christ. Wild.
You don't know how excited I am to be here because honestly, I've been listening to this podcast for the last year, like religiously.
That's beautiful.
Every single episode. So being here for me, it's still crazy. But I knew I was going to be here. I've seen it. But I didn't know it was going to happen so fast.
Do you sometimes, like, is it easy for you to see your own progress? Like, or to see how wild this is?
I'm getting used to it, so I don't get too surprised. But that's why I need, it's nice to have people around me that remind me sometimes how crazy that is and how unusual, because I'm getting used to just progress very quickly and... Yeah, but it is wild. If I really stop and think about it, it is wild. Because a few months ago, I was on a yacht polishing silverware cutlery. I told you this before. And I was listening to your podcast and I had this, I would visualize me being here with my coconut. And the fact that just like 3 months after I'm here, it's wild. Yeah.
Where did you learn that practice from? Or the practice, what is it that you do? You sit down and you visualize the things that you want to achieve, accomplish?
Yeah, so I don't necessarily sit down, but it's something that I've always done. I don't know how.
That it just came to you?
But I really remember when I was 8 or 9, being in my bathtub in my family house in Verona, and I would just spend so many hours in the bathtub just visualizing my life. And I always had this inner knowing that whatever I could picture in my mind, I could make it happen somehow. I didn't necessarily think that I would make it happen, but I knew that I could. Like that's the thing that has always, that belief that has always been in my mind since I can remember thinking. And I remember thinking when I was so little that through my words, I could put myself in any situation and I could get out of any situation. So I would imagine even like wild scenarios of having a gun pointed at my head, and me through my words as a kid, I could get out of that situation. Or I remember thinking if there's a war, I could potentially stop that war through my words alone. So I don't know how, like, or why I thought so, but I always knew that I could do anything. And not that I didn't think it was my superpower, but I
Well,
thought
but where did you get it from? Because when you were born, and like it would be a massive surprise that you know, you were born just with it.
just with it. So I think that because I was, well, a little bit, I think that I was born with it. And I think everybody actually has that inner knowing, but we lose it very easily. But because I was a kid and I was born in a small village in Verona, where the reality around me was very limited in a way of people there never really left the country, but also my family itself. Like my parents never left Italy until I was 23 or something, that they came visit me. But yeah, the reality around me was very limited. However, I started spending a lot of time in my head. And I think the more you spend, it's like I've been meditating since I was a kid. That's what happened, that I didn't accept the external reality, the limitation of my external reality. So I started looking inwards without knowing what I was doing. And because I could picture these big realities for myself, I then had, I don't know, I guess I just had this strong belief that that was possible because I could see it.
What if someone is listening right now who says like, okay, Maddy, that sounds amazing for you. I would love a bit of that. But it sounds like you are either born with it or not.
No, I think we all have it when we are kids, I believe. When we are born, we all have it. The thing is that when we are small, we learn that we can either listen to ourselves and be authentic and listen to that inner knowing that we all have, or we want to belong and then we start adapting to the reality, the external reality. So we start believing what other people believe, so then we fit in, which we all do, and I did it myself as well. So what I did, I started acting, performing in a certain way to fit in the social context where I was. But at the same time, I spent a lot of time on my own rather than living life. And because I spent a lot of time in my head, that belief, that inner knowing that I could never left me, that I could become whoever I wanted to become never left me. But what I did, I started believing that the day that I could be free, even though we are all free, but the day that I could leave my home country, and when I was 18, basically, that's when I would have been able to express myself fully and to create this beautiful life for myself. It's like my inner world was so big and expansive that I felt unsafe expressing it to the people around me because nobody would have understand me. That's what was going through my mind. But the inner knowing, we all have it. It's just that we easily forget about it, in my opinion.
So the good news is it is something that you can learn and or that you have is
I think it's something that we all have, but we forget about it. But the moment we stop, we start spending times inwards, looking inwards.
I think most people spend a lot of time inwards in their heads.
In their heads, but they're not connected to their hearts, which is different.
Yeah.
Because you're
Tell us about that. What is the difference between going inward and being connected to your heart and just spending so much time in their
your
heads?
head.
Like I see this every single day. I think it's one of the biggest problems of humanity. One of the biggest problems entrepreneurs have. They spend so much time thinking about what they could do, the ideas they have, and they major in minor things. They think for 6 hours about which Canva font do I need to choose. what website, where do I get my website? And like all of those things, or like all of this time spent just in their heads, instead of like actually like, how about you
Just do it.
practice? How about you just do? So tell us about the difference.
So for me, I think meditation is what helps a lot in this case.
Yeah.
But I've kind of always meditated by myself without knowing what I was doing. But the thing is that we have most like 90% of our mind, 95% of our mind, which is it's what when people overthink, which is just the program built on repetition from what we learned from the social conditioning, what we learned from our caregivers, from the people around us. And that's when people start overthinking, because they think, how like can I do it in a way that it's gonna work based on the record from the past, that they know it's gonna work because somebody else has already done it, or because I don't know, because they believe that it works. However, that's just our mind. But when you really start meditating and connecting to yourself, and you start peeling that onion of the social conditioning, you get to the core of your essence. That's when you connect to your heart, and you really start to listening to yourself and to your inner wisdom, which is different than just a record from the past or from whatever you've learned on a book or somebody told you. It's just a knowing that you have, every single person has internally. So I wouldn't say meditating, it's not in fact thinking a lot. So when people overthink and spend a lot of time in their mind, it doesn't mean they are connecting with themselves necessarily. I think an easy way to connect to yourself would be start asking questions and become very, very honest with yourself, which is something difficult, because sometimes we have some reactions that we don't like, or we have some behaviors that we don't like. And instead of understanding and asking ourselves questions about it without any judgment, we push it away, and we, again, pretend that we're not that person, and we start performing. So you need to really start to get to know yourself without any judgment, with honesty. And that's when you start getting answers. That's what I believe.
I see. So if someone is fully aware that they spend too much time in their heads, what is like a daily practice that they can do to get out of it?
To start with, I would start meditating daily, but like a little bit, let's say 5 minutes a day, because it is an easy practice actually, yes, but it takes some discipline to then learn how to actually do it. But I would just sit for like 5 minutes every day with no distractions completely, no phone, nothing. And I would just sit there, close my eyes. And it's going to be very uncomfortable at the beginning, because we want to do things. And also a lot of thoughts are going to pop up at the beginning. But the more you do this practice, if you just stick to it every single day, 100% you get better at it. And then you start understanding what I'm talking about. Because it's... once you start separating your thoughts from who you are, and you understand that are just thoughts, that's when you get that inner wisdom and inner knowing. That's when you start connecting with the true essence.
Yeah, you said something that was very honest but very disturbing to me, which was like, I think for most people it would be scary to sit down without phone, without any distractions, without any Wi-Fi, without any electronical devices, and just be with themselves for 15, 20, 30 minutes. I think if I ask the average person on the street in any major European city, when was the last time you spent an entire day without your phone? I think most people will say like, I don't even remember.
The day that I was born.
Or when was the last time when you were just bored for like 30 minutes or an hour, or you were just sitting? Like if we are that far that we can't close our eyes for 5 minutes.
Okay, then I think journaling could be like...
No. That's not the point. I'm just saying how screwed up it is.
Yes.
Like if we're just looking at it objectively, like if you as a human being, if you can't sit down 10 minutes to like just pause and be by yourself and be and just sit there, you probably should practice like an hour or 2 hours every day.
Yeah, but I think it's very, I mean, it wasn't difficult for me, but it requires a lot of discipline. And I've always been very disciplined. So for me, that's easy. But I see in other people that if you tell them to sit down for an hour, they're just not going to do it. Or maybe they do it today, but they're not going to do it tomorrow. So
Yeah,
of course, it depends on your level of how you operate and if you
very
are
true.
disciplined, which again, it's
Yeah.
very actually being disciplined. It can get to a point that you can be a kind of rigid in a way, which I was, but it is very important. It helps a lot in this process.
No, I mean, I'm a big fan of start small, start with 5 minutes. I was just so that people hopefully get triggered by it and activated by it, in what kind of direction we are heading to.
Yeah.
I had dinner yesterday, and there was a teenager sitting next to me. She's 14, and I'm just I love spending time with teenagers and asking them like, do you still do your homework, or is AI doing your homework? What's your screen time? She pulls out her phone. It's 10 hours. And I'm like, you spend more time on a screen than sleeping.
That's crazy. That's actually very scary, as you said. Yeah.
So I think one of the most important things that we need to do is go back to be able to spend time without any devices. Like if you can't go to the toilet without your smartphone, you're in trouble.
And I caught myself doing it as well, like
Going to the toilet with the smartphone.
no, with my smartphone. Yeah, going anywhere with my smartphone. Not right now, but I've done it for so long, like I was also one of these people.
Yeah.
But again, it comes back to the fact that I've always been very disciplined. So the moment that I decided not to do it, the day after, I can spend an hour meditating every day. So for me, I'm not a fan of starting small. Like I am, if it works for you, I think that's what most people need probably, to start small. But if you want to start big, start big. Like I like to start big.
Yeah, I like to start big as well. I'm like,
Yeah,
5 minutes of Spanish, 5 minutes of Indonesian on my phone. No. Let's hire a teacher. You come twice per week, couple hours.
Let's move to the country.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. All right, but I think it's a really important topic to talk about, because most people's mental health is going to the toilet, and our phones, not our phones, how we use our phones is a major part of it.
But unfortunately, also to get to that awareness of how much it's impacting your life, you need to meditate. Do you know what I mean? Like once you start meditating, you get aware of how crazy that is. But while you're in it, you don't really see it as that crazy. It's just normal. That's how life is,
Have you seen the picture? There's this one artist. He took pictures of people like in public places,
Yeah.
and then he edited the phones out. So you would just see people like this and this and this and this, but without the phone. If we really think about, like, in a normal household, you wake up, first thing you do is check your phone.
100%.
Then you go to the toilet, you take your phone with you. Perhaps you immediately get bombarded with emails, social media content.
Yes.
Then you walk to the kitchen with your phone like this. You watch more stuff. It is wild.
Such
Like
an
some people even
expansion.
in the middle of the night check their WhatsApp messages.
Yeah, I got a text message from my dad actually this morning, but he's in Italy, so it must have been 4 or 5 a.m. And I'm like, why the heck?
Well,
are you
either
on
he's
your
an
phone?
early bird, or he's...
No, he's not. That's the thing. I know he's not.
Maybe he was out or something.
And he sent me a reel on Instagram, by the way.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I think I'm really grateful that this topic comes up, because it's important. It's not that our mental health gets better and better and better. That's why I also love people like you who make a conscious effort to get people away from their screens, inside, but create a beautiful like relationship to going inside. It shouldn't be scary. Like even if it is at the beginning, like it is. I work with this thing. I can tell you, like my favorite things is to turn this device off. I love it for the fact that I can call my brother or my sister and stay connected all the time. I love the fact that I can create a podcast and distribute it to the world. But do I think we should spend 10 hours per day in front of a screen? The average teenager now spends more time in front of a screen than sleeping.
And also it's crazy like how much information you get in, which in a way you think information is good, but once you get so much information, it doesn't do any good to you. It's just, yeah, we're so overstimulated, not just with our phones, by the way, with everything really. Like even, I mean, I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV in the last probably 15 years, but when I was at home, yes, I would. It was just normal. Sometimes I would put it on while I was eating, you know, just to have it in the background. But you are...
I once went on a, oh gosh, am I sharing this here? I'll do it. It's okay.
Well, too
I had a
late
pass.
now.
If Louise is watching this, sorry, babe, I had a pass. Long time ago, I went on a date, and that, like, I started, you know, so we started seeing each other, and she could not fall asleep. An adult, she could not fall asleep without the television on at the same time.
Unfortunately, I had that with my ex-boyfriend, and not good.
Yeah, it is an important topic we get to explore. Everybody listening, watching, pull out your phone and check what your screen time is, and if it's anything above 3-4 hours.
But keep it on until the end of the episode and then put it off your phone.
I mean, there's a difference. You know, if my phone is out for 1.5 hours because I'm using Google Maps, that's something else than
Yeah, of
scrolling
course.
for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There are also people, I mean, it's technically screen time when you know, have Zoom meetings or something. I'm really talking about Netflix. I'm talking about just scrolling, and then really asking, like, just calculate how many hours in your entire lifetime you'll be spending just scrolling, and then it's absolutely wild. Those numbers are crazy. And then if you would be spending that time productively,
How many things could you achieve?
how many things could you achieve if you put that energy and that time into those things? So whenever someone comes to me complaining about money or complaining about not having enough clients or anything, I'm like, give me your smartphone. That's or like, I don't have time to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Give me your fucking smartphone.
Oh yeah, people that say I don't have time to do whatever.
yeah.
Like, okay, bullshit.
Yeah.
You don't have time. 100%.
100,000%. It's usually like, oh, okay, well, I don't have an hour to go to the gym, but I have 2 hours to scroll on TikTok because I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard of this saying, bad times create strong people create good times create weak people create bad times?
I haven't heard it before.
I found it to be very, very true. And I don't know what your upbringing was like, but it sounded like discipline and a certain attitude towards work and towards achieving and towards learning was installed, that was or is similar to mine, and I would say to most successful entrepreneurs. Because, you know, discipline, that is like one of those skills. If you don't develop discipline in your life, you're kind of screwed.
You know what? You're making me think about something else. For example, even things like training yourself to stay in an ice bath, or things like, or waking up at 5 a.m. to go for a run when I was in beautiful places. All things like that, many times I've been told, oh my God, that's a bit extreme. Like, why do you need to do that? Why do you need to do all of that? But I always thought, you know, it's not about the ice bath. It's not about waking up early, but you are training yourself to just do that thing, even though it's uncomfortable, because you know that it's going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah.
So all of these little things help me with being very disciplined. When I want something, I'll just make it happen somehow. Like, you don't really need to. I mean,
Did you play any sports as a child? Like, I'm always curious. Where does it come from? Where is it being developed? Is that something you picked up from your parents? Is that something you picked up from your environment, role models, people you watched on television? For me, it's actually been team sports. Playing football was one of the best things I've ever done, because you just like you come on time, or you don't practice, you don't get to practice.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, that's not in my family. My brother is actually not like that. I don't know. It's not from my family, and I didn't play any team sports. I guess I was very hungry for life, for a bigger, expansive life than what I was living. So it's like I was so driven. I had a vision, even though I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do at the time, but I knew that I wanted to do something extraordinary. Like I wanted a very beautiful life for myself. So I guess that's what was driving me, was to get out of that limited reality. But otherwise, I don't know. I've always been very disciplined, like my dad always told me that. And to a point, though, that I was very rigid. Like I've always stick to rule so much. But like I wouldn't cross the road, even if there's like absolutely no cars or nothing at all. But if I'm not on the crosswalk, I wouldn't do it. For so many years. It's only been like the last year or so that I became a little bit more loose, and now I'm so crazy. But yeah, I've always been very strict to rule and disciplines, and just like if I want to get there, I will do what I have to do to get there. I really don't know though where it's coming from.
Well, let's maybe see. I have a couple of guesses. I think traveling and leaving your hometown had a massive impact for so many people, including me. Leaving what's familiar, leaving the past conditioning. It doesn't mean you need to travel to the other side of the world, but actually separating at some point from what's familiar
100%.
for at least a bit of time. How was that for you? I know you've been to some crazy places. You had this belief that, or almost your parents showed you, you kind of stay where you are, you don't leave. So tell us about that journey.
Yeah, it wasn't my parents, first of all. I want to say my parents didn't tell me to stay there, just to clarify, but it was more just that was normal. That was life has to offer for you and for everybody that was born there. Like I didn't have a comparison. It was either me, and we didn't have Instagram at the time, so I didn't really see influencers or normal people having big lives, but it was either these or celebrities, like a huge separation, a huge jump. But what was it? So when I finished school, I applied to go to a university in Milan, not because I wanted to go to university, but I kind of had to go to university, like that was such a big thing, especially for my dad. So I picked a university, but luckily I didn't pass the entry test, and I didn't know what to do. And so I said, let's go to London, just kind of random. I didn't know anybody there. And it was terrifying. Like I wasn't confident. You know what I mean? Because people see me now very confident, but I wasn't. I just was hungry for life. And so I was willing to try and see what happened. So then I went to London. I couldn't speak English, which sounds weird, but I couldn't. And then I got myself somehow my first job. I was handing out flyers in a small, I can't even call it restaurant, maybe like a bistro in Chinatown. I can still smell the fried oil in my hair, like a place where I would never go to eat right now.
Love the smell, but yeah.
Yeah, or I wouldn't recommend to anybody to go, without mentioning names. But yeah, I found a job. I mean, I couldn't speak English, so that was the best that I could find at the time. And I found myself living, because I don't come from like a very wealthy family, so I had enough money to survive for like a couple of weeks. And then if I couldn't find a job, I would have gone back and see what happens. So I found this job. Again, I had this pressure to make it work. And then I was living in an apartment with 8 people, 8 strangers that don't speak my language.
I love that.
To be fair, there was an Italian. Of course, there's Italians are everywhere, so you will always find Italians. But apart from that one Italian, yeah, I didn't know anybody. And then here I met people, like I exposed myself to people that come from different countries, different realities, that do things so differently than how I do it. And it opened up a huge world. It's like it expanded my mind like 100 times, because now I see people doing life completely differently.
Yeah.
And then from there, I tried to enter to university again, didn't pass again. So now I'm like, okay, now I'm going to stay in London. And finally, I got to uni in London, because I had to go to uni. It was so important to have that degree, to have the paper. And but that obviously helped me with my English and stuff. And then I lived there for 7 years.
Wow.
I met my ex-partner there. We've been together. And then eventually, after 7 years, also the London reality became small to me. It was nice, it was cool, But, you know, you have to work so much, so many hours to then make enough money to survive because everything was so expensive. And so it was like, yeah, cool, but what am I really doing? I'm just working and surviving.
Yeah.
If you are not making money when you are not operating, you don't have a business yet, you have a job. It's a little triggering, but it is true. And I have a solution for you. The solution is called Evergreen Systems. I will teach you in a free training how you can set up evergreen systems so that you actually have a business, so that you change lives and make money while you sleep or while you are on a vacation. I just came back from a 10-day vacation. My phone was off. We made more than 20K while I was gone. Everything was still operating. My clients were still served. It's possible. You just need to know how. I will tell you exactly how in this free training. All you need to do right now is to sign up, click on that link, and actually come live. I will be there live. I'm one of the few people who are actually, you know, not just pretending that it's a live training. It is actually a live training. I'll take the time to answer your questions, to be really there with you, to interact with you. Sign up right now.
So then we moved, and once again, I put myself out of my comfort zone again after 7 years. So I think the more you do it, like the fear is always there, because even now I'm in Bali, it's always a bit scary, the unknown. But the more you do it, the more you get so used to it, and you just do, like, it becomes so much easier and easier, especially when you understand that the fear it's not a signal of that you shouldn't do it. It's literally just a safety mechanism because you don't know what's there. But once you overcome the fear, everything that I've done in my life, it always led me to something bigger and bigger and bigger and better. So then we moved to Spain. We went to Palma de Mallorca. And again, I couldn't speak Spanish this time, but I can speak English. And I'm Italian, so I could understand. And again, no plans, no idea what to expect, but I found this job in a coffee shop, like in a cafe, and just a normal job. And most of the clients were English speaking, so I didn't have to speak English. But this was the biggest turning point because when I went to Spain, I had no idea what I was going to do. Found this job, and the owner of this place, Justine, she used to work on super yachts. And apart from the daily, she had a cookery school attached to it where she would have some students, some chef students, and she would train them to become chefs to go work on super yachts. That's what she did before she opened this business. And I've never heard of this in my life. Like, I mean, in Palma, it's an island, so of course there's many yachts, but I never even looked at them or thought about working on one of them or like, what is it? And all of a sudden, I found myself surrounded by so many people that worked and lived that reality, you know? And so I heard so many stories, and they were like talking about working on yachts as if it's the best thing ever. You know, you travel the world, you make so much money, you don't pay for anything. I mean, I managed to spend a lot of money anyway in buying stuff, but you know what I mean? You have everything paid for, crazy, beautiful places, and so on. And so I thought, okay, I want that. Why not? So then I thought I want to go work on a yacht one day in the future. And then COVID hit. And so Justine closed the shop and she moved all of her business in London. And I found myself unemployed then. And I was like, okay, this is the time. That's the time that I'm going to get a job on a yacht. However, this is obviously a limitation, like a limiting belief that people have, but it's also kind of a little bit real that it is not easy to enter in the industry because it's such a small, unique thing, you know. I mean, have you ever heard of anybody working on a yacht? You know what I mean? It's such a small reality. And a lot of people want to work there. So of course, everybody told me it's going to be hard to find the first job. It's going to take time, but if you keep going, you're going to find it. And then it's probably going to be a terrible yacht, and then you're going to find a better one. But I was like, no, that's not me. So I remember even when I met new people, at the time when I was still looking for a job and they would ask me, what do I do for a living? I always said, I'm a stewardess on a yacht. But I wasn't. But I wasn't lying. I just knew, again, I always just knew that I would make it happen somehow. And so it took me literally like 2 weeks since I started looking. And I got myself a job into this beautiful 75-meter yacht. So I was also lucky that it wasn't just any yacht, but it was a very good one with an amazing crew. And I got the job as a galley hand. So the galley do you know what's a galley? No, of course. The galley in yachting terminology is the kitchen. That's how people call the kitchen. I don't know why. And the toilets are day heads, just for your information. So because I didn't have any experience to work in such a luxury environment. And so I worked in the kitchen and I was helping, like washing up the dishes and chopping vegetables. And again, as soon as I joined, I said, I'm going to show up so confident and I'm going to do such a great job that, because it was just a seasonal job, I had the job for 3 months only, that by the end of the 3 months, I'm going to get a job as a stewardess. Like somebody will leave, something will happen, I don't know what, and I get a job. And that happened, of course. That's like literally every single thing that I said I would make it happen somehow. So then I became a stewardess, and then from there I became head of service. I just stayed on the same yacht for a long time. But yeah, it's been a crazy change in my life. Like stepping onto that yacht changed my life like completely, because it's such a. I'm gonna try to explain to you as much as I can what it even means, but it is so complicated because it's such a unique cosmos, literally. It's like a reality on its own, because it's not just a job, you know, you live together with these people. So bear in mind, 75-meter yacht, so it's quite big. You have, you can host maximum 14 guests, but there is 20 crew members. Like 20 people working for a maximum of 14 guests. So it's such a big operation that people have no idea. And because the level of service and like the quality of service and of the whole experience is so high that you can't even compare it to like a 5-star hotel. It's like a 7-8 stars hotel. Everything is just absolutely perfect. And so it requires so many people to work in order to make it happen. And it's still even not enough, because potentially you could have even more. But how it looks, you'd have, like in my case, of course, it depends on whatever yacht you work on. But over a 12 months period, over a year, you'd have guests on for 4 months in total, only. Meaning you have another, how many is it, 8, 7?
8.
Thank you. Let's cut this part.
Absolutely not. It reminded me of this.
8 months in which it's just the crew on the boat. And every single person that I tell this, they would be like, oh, that's amazing. So you do nothing. I was going to say, you do nothing. No, that's not true. Like, actually, you do a lot, because, again, it's such a... there is so much to do to just maintain these high standards. Like, we would vacuum the ceilings, we would vacuum the walls, we would do very weird things just to keep the standards so high. And then obviously even just managing the crew and the crew movements, that's a job itself, you know. So I don't remember in 5 years a day in which it wasn't busy. It's always been so busy. But when you don't have guests, it's beautiful, because you, no offense, but because you work Monday to Friday, you have the weekend off, you travel the world, so you're always in different places. Everything is paid for. If you're lucky enough, like I was, you have an amazing crew, so you love spending time with them. And of course, it's beautiful. But then it gets to the time where you have guests on, and you literally, everything becomes about them. And that's what I struggled the most. It wasn't the job itself, but it was that completely losing my identity. Like, from now on, I am just performing as Maddy the stewardess. Put my uniform on, which did a lot in my head for this, like, losing my identity. And everything was just focused on the guests. And that's for like when you have guests on, you would work 15 hours a day. You have no days off. So if they stay for 1 month, you do it for 1 month, 2 months. I did 3 months like that, which is crazy to think about it. But you completely forgot that you are a person. Like that's how it happens. Of course, you can do anything in this life, but you are completely out of, you're so focused on what you have to do. And it's like you keep switching your nervous system from relaxed to fight or flight when you have guests, even though you can have the best guests. Like, I mean, I was happy with what I was doing, but everything becomes, it's like you're saving lives. I know you're not saving lives technically, but it feels like somebody could die if you make a mistake because it needs to be so perfect that you can't make a mistake. And if you do, you probably get fired as well. And that's the reality.
Really? That's so interesting. It's
so many, yeah.
Depends probably on which yard, but I've been guest on some yards, and often I was like, can this, I remember even I had this time with friends of ours, and there was this one stewardess, that's what
Yeah.
you call it? Stewardess. She was just standing there the whole time, listening to all of our conversations. I'm like, can someone tell her to just like chill, go, relax? Like you don't have to. It was like 11 p.m. I'm like, we don't need anything. We have water, we have
I know.
fruits.
You know how
Like get
many
the
times
stick out of your butt and go to sleep.
I wish somebody told me that, like,
Yeah.
a guest would tell me that, but that's it. Like you are just there because it's not even sometimes the level of service gets so high that you don't even wait for the guest to ask you something, but you get to predict what they may want. So even standing there, you are listening and you are getting information. So for example, if a guest is talking to someone and says, "Oh, do you remember like when we were kids and we used to eat those chocolate coated almonds? Oh my God, yes, so nice." I will take that information. And even if I'm in the middle of like in an island in the Caribbean where there's definitely no chocolate coated almonds, I will make that shit happen somehow. Either I go straight, even though they didn't ask me for it, they just mentioned that
I mean,
that would be nice.
That's excellent service.
Yes, and then the day after, somehow either the chef made them or I got them from somewhere. I don't know. I would go to them when they completely forgot about it, and I would be like, "Would you like some chocolate-coated almonds?" They'd be like, "Oh my God, that's exactly what I was thinking of." And that's when you're good at your job. Like I was really good like that. I would literally
Hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I see. I think there are, maybe it's a generational thing. I know there are also like some very luxurious hotels where there are butlers standing there while you have dinner.
Yeah,
I'm like, you guys,
go.
you and the sticks that are up your butts.
Yeah.
I mean, they just do their jobs, but I always say like, hey, because it makes me so uncomfortable. Also on the yards, I'm like, just chill. Like I'm
thought
good.
that- yeah, I thought so many times. Like if I was on the yacht as a guest, I mean, I guess also because I know how it works, but I would 100% just say, just go. I wouldn't stand in the room with the guests, but I would be like next door in case an emergency happens, like they want a glass of water or something,
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, because they can't go get it themselves. But I was also, especially in my role, because I was like head of service, so I would have to stay on until the very last guest would go to bed. So I didn't have like a finishing time. I was just standing there. Sometimes the guests are maybe just like chilling and watching TV. And of course, they're just doing life normally, just super chilled. And I'm there standing for hours being like,
Wild.
can they go to
Why
bed?
would anybody do that? Because of the money? Because of the...
The job, you mean? Or, oh, it's so addictive. Why would you do it? Well, I never made this money before in my life. So from the reality that I come from, if you make 1,300 euros a month and you're able to pay rent, that's great. So thinking about making a lot of money, like a lot more than that, and then also you get tips when you get charter guests, which we're talking about a lot of money.
I know you can't speak about the people who you worked for, but can you speak about the, like, what was like the craziest tip that you've ever seen, either for yourself or a colleague?
We would have 1 month charter a year only, and that's when you get your tips. And over that 1 month, we would make around 20K on tips each person.
Oh, mamma mia.
But
It's
again,
wild what some people leave.
it is wild because it is wild if you told me a few years ago, I would be like, that is crazy. But considering I'm working so many hours every single day, yes, you can give me even more. Of course, it's never expected,
Yeah.
but it makes sense when you are in it.
Yeah, also like the people probably who are on those yachts, it's always
have
relative, you know, for them it's
Millions, I guess, like
yeah, if your net worth is hundreds of millions or
Yeah, it's like you
even
give me 10
billions, it's like, you know, the percentage wise from net worth, you know, maybe like
like tipping
zero. It's like
20
tipping like 10 or 20 euros
yeah,
for
20K Indonesian money for a Gojek.
yeah.
No, maybe it's more, I don't know, but this is not to be ungrateful, of course, like that was crazy for me too, but that's to say that yes, you have that's why you do it, well, for the money, but also it's not like making a lot of money doing a terrible job. I mean, I wasn't sitting in an office, I was in beautiful locations all the time. Again, I have times in which yes, I've worked so much that I was sleep deprived, but I still have fun during the day somehow with my friends. So it wasn't like that terrible, but really, if you really think about it, it's so not sustainable. So when people ask me, is it worth it? Or like, would you recommend people to do it? It really depends who you are. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody that is insecure or that compare themselves to others, because the competition there is insane. Like you can lose your job just like that. And it's not to be mean, but it's such a small industry that you need to be the top of the top of the top. And if you're not good at your job, you're out. So it's very selective and competitive. The girls, I mean, every single girl that I met, me included, they would start comparing themselves, not between them girls, but even on the other boats, because everybody's like so fit, and like there's a lot. It can be super toxic if you're not in the right headspace.
You know what takes about 3.5 seconds and makes sure that you continue to get access to the brightest minds on planet Earth? Simple. Subscribing to the show. Really, the subscriber count of this podcast, of this show, matters so much. It also makes sure that you don't ever miss out on any of those amazing episodes. So just click subscribe and then return to the show.
And also, a lot of people, that's another question, because before coming here, I've asked my community if anybody had a question for this podcast, and somebody that is currently working on a yacht asked me, how did you have the confidence to live it once you know how good the lifestyle is? Because a lot of people get trapped into it, because it's never just like, it's either so good or so bad. Like when you work so many hours, but then it's so good after, and you get a lot of money and you get some time off. So it's a really like a toxic relationship. Like you get so many highs and so many lows. So it is hard to leave, and a lot of people get stuck there. But that's when you have to expand your mind even more. Because if you're in yachting, it means that you already believe that you can have, like, that you can make a lot of money and have a beautiful lifestyle. But that's conditioned to hustling, to working so much. And I was the first person that I would be so proud of myself for working so hard. I'm never tired. I never complain. Like literally, you could put me in any situation, I'll just do it. And I thought I was super good because of that, super proud of that. But then I realized that why would you have to, like, you can still have the same lifestyle, the same money that you're making working on a yacht, but without compromising your health. Like, how about we believe that you can do that and make it happen? And I'm sure you can. So again, for me, I've never settled. Like I just constantly grow. And so I took that experience. Of course, I'm super grateful. I bought a house. I mean, I didn't need, but it helped me a lot in achieving things. But now I'm like, okay, but my health, like, that's more important. And it doesn't mean that I want to go back to earning 1,300 euros a month. No, absolutely not. I will keep the good from what I learned from there, and I will add also the good of a lifestyle. So that's my plan for now.
Reminds me a lot about also like pilots and
Yeah, it's a very
aviation industry, because they usually love flying, but the lifestyle, from what I hear, I'm not in a million years I would do that. For example, like being an F1 driver, you work a lot.
You own the yacht then?
You own the
Very likely.
no, I don't. Some of them have yards, but also like having a yard is for most people that I like, who I know have yards. That after some time they tell me, Axel, it's such a pain in the ass.
Of course.
So expensive, so much work. I would not in a million years own a yard.
No, me too. That's
Like
the thing.
just the thought
I
about
don't get
like
it.
the oh my lord. I
Yes.
think it's there are better ways of transportation. I'm also not a fan of.
No, I would go on a yacht as like I would rent
As
it,
a
but I
guest.
just wouldn't buy it. I mean, I love being on a yacht. Like I would definitely go. But
I
just
see all of
buying
those
it?
yards on my, like from my, you said Palma earlier, I have
There's
an
so
apartment in Palma. Like I see those yards and I know what they, for example, they pay more for the rent to
Yes.
park their yard at the marina in Palma than you would spend on a year
Yeah,
for like
yeah.
a very nice apartment. So for me, it's just like,
It is
I don't
crazy.
know, maybe it's my German brain, but it's. I mean, some people love it so
Yeah,
much.
but still, but even if you love it, like even if I had all this money in the world, I would probably rent it out for my holiday because, as I said, like my guests would come on for 2, 3 months, over 12 months. Of course, but like, do you understand how much work there is behind? Of course, you're giving me a job that's amazing, but I'm just thinking in terms of, yeah, it's such a huge operation, and if you work for celebrities, let's say you have for a holiday, not only there's the 20 people involved on the yacht, but there's also like another 20 people ashore. Like it's such a holiday, it's such a big operation, you know?
It's crazy.
So yeah, I think
There's only
it's a
one
big
yard I
watch.
would work on. I saw it the other day. There's a yard that has a paddle court on it. Yeah.
See, and then if you were a crew, for example, when you don't have guests, you'd use all. Yeah, it depends on the yacht, I guess, but you'd be able to use the paddle court or to do these things that if you don't have the money, you don't see possible for you. So that's why people do it, of course, and that's why people get addicted. Which reminds me actually of the fact that there's also many people that, for example, worked with me or in other yachts, that they have family at home. And it's so hard because obviously they have a better contract. So a lot of people work for, which is also why they stay in yachting. They work for 2 months and then they have 2 months off. Like it's a 2-2 rotation. So there's two people doing the same role that they alternate. So you work 6 months of the year, divided in 2-2. But you get paid the whole, like as if you work every single month. And these people are the ones that can have a family, like they would have kids and stuff. But imagine like every time, like it's heartbreaking even to see them because they leave their kids home for 2 months and like I've seen them really struggling. But if you stop there and you think that that's as good as it can get, that the alternative is to go back to an average salary, that's when you get trapped. Or you can say, okay, I'll save some money. Let's use this money to do something mine, something bigger, where I can have a good lifestyle and the money. It all depends where, like, on whether
I mean, there's what I hear from that and what I tell people all the time, there's so many possibilities that you don't even think about when you are, when all you know is your village or the town where you're from, and you're not exposed to any other ideas, any other cultures, any other traditions or beliefs. It's so important that you expose yourself to that, and then you will see like, oh, what's actually possible. Oh, right, there are people who don't stress themselves so much about the tiniest things. There are people who don't get nervous before they have a speech. Oh, wow, really? How do you do that?
yes, 100%.
There are people for them it doesn't make any sense to live their entire lives in jobs that they don't enjoy.
Yes,
So what I hear is leave your hometown.
100%.
If I would have a son, I would tell them all the time.
Oh my God, I
all the
tell
time.
everybody, like, you have to leave your nest.
Yeah.
But to be fair, my parents always supported that. Like, I remember my mom said that always. It's hard to see your kids living, but it's the biggest gift that you can
I mean, it's hard to see your kids living if you. Most parents have such. How can I say that respectfully? They think they want the best for their kids, but they actually want the best for themselves. That's why they're like, you should become a doctor so that
100%.
I have so that I don't have to deal with the insecurity of my neighbors judging me that my
100%.
son doesn't go to university. So I think it's really, really important that parents step back and think about
Yeah.
what's best for my kids.
Yeah, they are literally, of course, they don't do it intentionally, but they are just projecting their own fears and insecurities. Because if they don't believe that you can create a better life for you, if they believe that it's too hard, almost impossible, then they don't want that for you. But that's not truth. Like, it's not because your parent thinks so. I mean, they've grown up in a very different environment, different beliefs around them. So, you know, I used to give a lot more weight on what my dad used to say out of respect of the fact that he's older than me, and now still with a lot of respect and love for him, I filter out what, like, I literally take maybe a 10% of his advice, because he's never, like, you know, he didn't live a life that I want to live, so why would I listen to him? And there's nothing disrespectful about this that I'm saying. It's just really understanding that, you know, I realize that I'm like a sponge. I really, I learned very quickly, maybe also for that reason, because I observe a lot. So if I put myself next to people that have done something that I want to do, I very quickly absorb their beliefs, their habits, their behaviors, which is also dangerous, because then you can also absorb limiting beliefs and from other people. But once you're very secure within yourself and you understand what you want for your life, you can select where to absorb and where to just, it's not even ignoring, like, you listen to it, but you're like, okay, that's not for me. I don't want that belief for me.
You must have listened to some conversations of very rich, successful people. What were a couple of aha moments, things you learned about life, about money, like something that stuck with you?
Yes, actually. So I've worked for different people. So I had different guests on during these 5 years, and very different people. So I've seen the classic rich family that has got a lot of money, owns a yacht, but super unhappy. So I've seen that. And I remember that shocked me. And that was actually my first experience when I just joined the yacht. It shocked me to see how you can have anything you want in this world and still be unhappy. I remember we would go to like these most beautiful tiny beaches that you can just access with if you own a yacht, basically. And it was just never good enough. It's like, it's too sandy, the water is too cold. They would literally be on the yacht for like 3 weeks. And I remember that the wife of the owner would come to us in the galley, in the kitchen, counting the days for the holiday to hand, because she hated the family. Like, because they were just like so... they would just keep fighting. They were just so unhappy. So I've seen that, which means that it's not about the money, but also it means that, of course, money doesn't buy happiness. That's true. But at the same time, I've seen people with even much more money than these first people, and they loved their life so much, and they were so grateful for every single thing. They stayed humble. I guess the difference, maybe it's also if you come from money, or if you know also what it means not to have money, maybe that helps. But yeah, I've seen both sides, which makes me really realize that money is not, of course, money is not the problem. So money is not evil, because, a lot of people think that they have this misconception that if you have a lot of money, and even I got this comment a lot of like, when I started working on yachts and I would mention it to people, one of the first reaction, apart from like, cool, it was like commenting about how bad it is for the environment, how all these rich people, that they have all the money in the world, and then there's people that have no money. So I started to also share a little bit less when I was with friends from back home because of that reason. But that's bullshit, because it's not money, it's not the problem, but it is an amplifier. So if you are an unhappy person and you have a lot of money, it's tragic, because then you're like, okay, what now? I've got everything in this world, but but I'm not happy. That's actually very tragic if that happens. But if you are a happy person and you want to do good and you have a lot of money, oh my God, you can do so much good in this world. And apart from doing good, you can also enjoy life yourself. So why would you not? In terms of conversation, though, this is also interesting. I've seen some people that you'd think, like, you'd put them on such a high pedestal. You'd think that they are like, to make all this money, they must be like so special or be so smart. And that's how you can't have the same. Absolutely not. Like, I've heard very basic conversation. Like, it's not about being smarter or more special than anybody. Literally anybody. Like, there's no separation at all. We're all just human beings. It just happens that some people believe that they can make it, or at least they have the gut and the courage to go for a bigger dream, and they make it happen. But that's literally the only difference. And of course, some people have talents and stuff, but still, you can have talent and not use it, the separation, like that separation that I had before between me and the people in the magazines and the people that have big lives collapsed just like that. Of course, I was tough, but I saw how normal they are. So that's something that has been very interesting to witness. And again, it expands my idea even more of, if you see anybody that has anything that you want, it means that you can have it too. Like, as simple as that. Doesn't mean it's gonna be easy, but if there is even just one person who has it, you can have it 100%.
What if someone wants to? I see where there's what you mean. What if there is someone who says like, "But listen, Maddy, my dream is so big. Like, I want to become the next Beyonce."
Well, you're never gonna be Beyonce, because there's one Beyonce. But like,
no, but this superstar star level.
Yeah, I mean, they can, of course.
If
they, first of all, what I realized lately, also working with you, is that, me included, a lot of people don't actually know what they want. They just say, oh yeah, I wanna, one day it would be nice to, be on a stage and sing. What does that even mean? One day maybe be on a stage and sing. So you need to be very clear and confident that's what you want.
Yep.
And once you want it, I promise you 100%, like, I'm super confident when I say this, that you can make it happen, but then you're going to have to put your focus on it and be sure that that's what you want, and take action. Like, study the people that are like, if you want to become Beyonce, study Beyonce's life. What did she do? And you don't have to do step by step. Actually, you can go straight away to the step number 5. You know what I mean? So, like, that's what I'm doing with you. Like, I'm learning from you, but I go straight away to, like, it's a shortcut to learn from other people.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest problem I see is people don't want to pay the price that it took Beyonce to become the Beyonce.
But then they don't want it. Or, I mean, they think they want it, but they don't want it. Because becoming Beyonce, it's not just, listen, this is nice. Becoming Beyonce, it's not just performing on a stage and sing a song.
Yeah.
It comes with being Beyonce. What does it mean to be Beyonce? To train, not to train, like to practice every day. I don't know what she does, to be honest. But it comes with the whole package of doing the things to be Beyonce and to have that life. So maybe you don't want to become Beyonce. Maybe you want to become someone that performs every now and then, but that's different than being Beyonce. You can literally have whatever you like, but you need to be very specific and understand the whole identity around that thing that you want to become.
100%.
Yeah.
And also to not just see any superstar that you're looking up to right now, but think about how long they've been practicing.
Yes.
Mostly every single day to become that person. And
Yes.
I would say that most people are not willing to pay the price. Everybody wants to build a personal brand these days, but are you willing to pay the price, the entrance ticket, which is, you get to post regularly, you get to work on your own insecurities, you get to you invest money and yada 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 yada. You have to do certain things to get there, and I don't. Most people actually, right now, if they would be honest to themselves, they're not willing to do that.
Yeah, I think if they had like a certainty, like if I could show them now on a video, like a physical evidence that I promise them 100% that they are gonna get there, maybe they would do it. But they don't believe it. They don't believe it. It really I think it really all comes to your belief system. If you are sure, like right now for me, I am sure 100%, not 90%, not a little bit, maybe. I know that I'm going to make it happen. And it doesn't, at that point, it really doesn't matter how long it takes. But it doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily take 10 years. Like for me, it could happen in a month time or in 10 years. But that doesn't matter at all when you are sure 100%. But of course, I haven't been shown this video, this physical evidence, but that's here. So yeah, I think people, they think they want something, but then they believe, oh yeah, but it's too big of a dream. And it's not. It's really not. It's never too big of a dream. It's really never. I'm thinking about the underwater model now. Like anything that you want, you can make it happen somehow.
Yeah. I mean, what I hear from you, you have so much belief, and I love this example of everybody as in their lives, whether you have a driver's license or not, there's a big bus, and that bus is basically your life, and most people have abandoned the driver's seat and someone else is driving. Their parents are driving and their parents don't even have a driver's license or something, or the fear part of you is in that driver's seat. I think it all changes when you take ownership of your life again, when you put yourself into the seat, because then you don't need a video from someone else. You've done the work so much. I don't care if someone believes in me or don't believe me. Like my my self-belief doesn't come from you, or I don't play the victim. Like if there is someone who says something about me, I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yes.
I don't care. But that's really important for people to understand. I've put in the work. I've practiced for a decade every single day. So that's the main message I have for people. Like if you really want something, ask yourself, what is the price of getting there? Like be honest. What's the price, and are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to fail? Are you willing to do all of those things? And are you willing to take full ownership and say, like, I'm gonna do anything? It's inevitable. I'm gonna do anything. I'm gonna learn anything. I'm gonna find the right people. I'm gonna make it work. Because most people, they're like kind of like,
yeah, maybe I'd like to, one day would be nice. No, that doesn't work. It really doesn't work. It takes you anywhere. And then, of course, if you can get a coach or somebody, that supports you, that, I told you when I was talking about you, like for me, it's like I have my belief and I know I'm going to get there, but your role for me is to really, like when you work with me, is to remind me like where to go and push away all these fears and insecurities, which are always going to come to me, because of course, the more I progress, the more I will face something. I mean, I was scared of coming here to the podcast, But it's a constant practice of reminding yourself where you're headed, and it's inevitable. Like, I am going there no matter what. So now I'm just gonna come here, sit down and talk. And I'm scared, whatever. I can be, you're just pushing, like, having a coach, it helps you to do this process of like pushing away all the fears. But if you don't have a coach, it's fine. Like, you can still do it. May take longer, but that doesn't mean.
Yeah, I mean, a coach is like in any discipline. When you want to learn how to snowboard, you can try yourself, and you can learn it.
You can do it, but
You can learn it, or you get someone who knows how to snowboard,
Yeah.
who can teach you, and then you are just faster there. Where was I? I lost it.
What?
I lost my thought. That doesn't happen often.
Was it about the snowboard?
I would say only get a coach if you really want to learn it, if you really
course.
want to get there.
Of course. Yeah, it's just an extension of you, kind of. It's like a higher version of you in that field, of course, not in life, but in what you want to achieve, that keeps just reminding you to stick to it, basically. And also, I think it helps a lot in terms of believing in yourself. When you have, of course, I believe in myself already, but having another person that believes in you, that tells you that you can 100% do it, it just reinforces your belief. And then you make it happen even faster. So, yeah, I think in general, as you said earlier, getting out of your comfort zone, it's the key, first of all. Even like people that tell me that they are stuck, they don't know what they want to do, they don't know what's their purpose, they just feel lost. Just get out of something needs to change. So if you are staying in the same place, same job, with the same dynamic, and nothing is changing, start by changing one thing and see what happens. And I think a lot of young people, especially, they have the pressure that they think that whatever choice they make, it's the final choice. Like, you have to pick a university and that's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. You have to, if you get a job, then you have to stick to it. But it's really not like that. Like, if you're feeling lost and stuck, and even though you don't know that your next choice is going to be the choice, like the place where you want to live forever or the job that you want to do forever, just do it. And then from there, something else will happen, and then it will take you there. And the more you expose yourself to different situations, different inputs, and then you get the clarity of what actually you want to do in your life, So really exposing yourself to unfamiliar situations, I think that's super important for you to grow.
What else did you learn from being on a yacht, spending time with the super rich? I mean, they must, just for people to get an idea, what are the price points that we're speaking about? Just owning a yacht. Like, are you familiar with the numbers
bit.
for, like? I just know the
bit.
parking fees. When I heard that in Mallorca, that guy was spending, I think he was parking there for like 2-3 months, and it was 40,000 euros.
And
Depends on the season. What?
Was it like how big? Because the thing is that a yacht can be a 30 meter or can be 70, can be 100.
Yeah, it was definitely not 70 meters. I would say like maybe 30, 35, something like this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about parking fees, but I know that, like, just buying the physical object was over, it was like around 120 millions or something like that, just to buy the physical object, the yacht. But then, as we said, I think the bigger thing is really the whole operation, like paying so many people, paying for the fuel must be super expensive, but I really don't remember. I've been told before, but I can't remember. Yeah, fuel, parking, the berths. It's actually, I think for my brain, it is impossible to give you a number because it's so big. Like, there is so much money involved. For example, like, just to make you understand how crazy, how crazy of an operation it is. It happens sometimes that you are again in a tiny island where there's no shops around, and maybe you run out of that brand of chips, of crisps. Do you say chips or crisps? Anyway, or chips that the boss like. He's not gonna get mad. He's never gonna say anything. But again, it is part of my job. If we run out, we need to have them. So you could potentially get a private jet that flies from America just to get these chips delivered to you. Like, do you understand? It is so crazy how much money is involved for an operation like that. Or even like if you are in Europe and there's so many fancy restaurants, we are in August, so everything is super overbooked. But then out of the blue, they say, okay, tonight we could go there. You make it happen. So again, that's going to cost you a lot of money. Like so many dinner reservations that then maybe they would change their mind, they wouldn't go, but that's still like, I don't even know, like 10K. There is so much involved. So to own a yacht, you don't need to have a lot of money. You need to have a lot of money, like a lot of money. That's why I don't think it's. I think it's more of a status, maybe. I mean, some people probably love to have it, but it is a lot we're talking about.
For me, it sounds like category. I don't know what to do with my money, so I burn it.
At some point that you have so much. I mean, yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of judgment for me coming up when I hear someone like flying a private jet with their favorite crisp chips, whatever. It's like,
listen to this. This is a crazy story, actually. So one day, one of our guests went ashore, so on land, and she went to a shop and she got a dress. And then when she came back on the boat, we left. So we were on the way, like we were moving with the boat. And she realized that they gave her the wrong size. But now the boat is moving, so we are already, around. So what happens, it wasn't I can't take the credit for this amazing piece of art of an operation, but my chief stew found someone that was ashore that could go to the shop, get the dress, and then they stepped on another boat that came next to our boat as we are moving. And one of the crew members working with me literally climbed down the ladder on the side of the yacht, which is very tall, while the boat is moving, and they just handed the dress. Like, it is crazy. It is.
I think because of things like this, people have such a bad image of rich people.
But you can't even blame them though, because it's for them, they don't understand, they don't know the operation. They just see that the dress is here. You know what I mean? Like they have no idea of what's going on. They just know that everything they want, they have.
Were there ever... There's this one guy, I follow him on Instagram. He posted this video about this paddle court on the yacht. I was like, this is so interesting. I just listen to his stuff, and sometimes he shares client messages.
Yeah.
And for someone like me who grew up without any money, and with I love this attitude, this like having Slavic roots has some disadvantages, but what I really liked was that in our culture you're humble. Like this eta peteta mindset, like, is just unheard of. Like if someone would have acted like this in front of my grandma, oh my gosh.
Yes. But as you and me weren't exposed to this reality, some of these people have never been exposed to being normal and not having this much money. So for them, they don't even question it. Like they don't even know what's the problem, you know?
Yeah, and I love telling them what's the problem. Like when I see this here in Bali sometimes, I tell people all the time, there are people coming here to Bali, especially my fellow Russians. I love it. Like I'm partially Russian.
Yeah.
My mom was Russian. The attitude that some people bring to the table who think like I have money or I have status, so I'm gonna act like
of course.
the reasons why people have negative beliefs about people with money. And so I am someone who, like, if I have a client, for example, I don't care how much money you have, if you're rude towards me, towards stuff, or you're arrogant, there's the door. If I hear someone or see someone, I think that's where change starts. Being disrespectful towards stuff. I don't care how much money you have. I'm gonna call you out in the entire restaurant. So I hear those from this guy. I see those conversations. I'm like, you gotta tell people. Like, there must be a way to tell people, like, just be kind, be respectful.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced moments like that when I mean, probably plenty, but how was that for you?
No, actually, I completely agree with you, but I've never had any guests being disrespectful. So all of the things that I told you, it's more like we would just make it happen before they would even ask. So it's kind of an expectation that that as a crew member, you know that that's what expected. That's the level of service that it's expected. But I've never had a situation of somebody specifically saying, I want that dress now, so make it happen. You know, like I've never had anything like that. So that's how also it's a bit different. But if you watch Below Deck, for example, you know, it's a series on Netflix where it shows like it's like a reality TV show that shows how's life on a yacht.
Oh, amazing.
There you can see all of the bad things, so all of the bad part of it. And of course, there will be yachts in which there's some rich people that are pricks and that they will be treating you like a slave, literally. Like I've seen that, but I would have never stayed. You know what I mean? Like me personally, and that's where you need to be, I believe, a certain personality and not be an insecure person to work on a yacht, because you can end up there. But for me personally, if I found somebody that was rude to me or like that, I would have said something, as you said, and then I would have got fired, and I would have been fine. But I never had that experience at all. So that's how, of course, I mean, that's just, again, yachting, it's just an extreme reality. So it shows a lot of, like, if you get people that treat you badly, you see it, I mean, they have a lot of money, so they think they have a right to treat you badly.
Are there any whistleblowers in yachting? You know, when you see, you know, negative things happen, that they speak about this? Because contractually, most people who work on those super yachts with celebrities, they probably have some
that
contract, and
can't.
you can't talk about it. And other than like whistleblowers who do it anyways because it's so messed up?
Like talking publicly or
Yeah.
just... I'm sure that you can't share, of course, I mean, you can't share name and shame, of course. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with the yachting world outside of my experience. But of course you can report something to the captain if you have something to report. The thing is that, you know, you're going to lose your job. Like, it's very likely you're going to be kicked out. But again, you either accept it, or if you have strong boundaries, like I do, I wouldn't have accepted that. So then again, how much do you think that you have to compromise for money? Because for me, I wouldn't compromise my being a good person for money. But I did compromise my health a little bit. Not anymore, but yeah, it's like there's always some compromise that you need to make. But I've never been treated poorly or particularly bad. They just didn't know the conditions. They don't know how much you sleep. They don't know how much, like they just don't even think about it. It's their holiday. They're not going to think about how you make
I must say,
this
our
happen.
friend group, when we were on this boat, I can tell you later with whom it was, but we were thinking about this. We're like,
Yeah, but because you come from you've been with no money, you know what I mean?
yeah, for me, but it's also just a human being,
Yeah.
you know. Like I saw
actually,
her
that's
in
true.
the
Actually,
earlier.
that's
It's just having empathy
No,
and like
that's true.
also thinking about what is really necessary right now. We're just here. We all
That's
have
true.
water. We all have
Yeah.
people have drinks. Just leave the thing there. Go sleep. I would rather. Like, it makes me more uncomfortable that I know that there is someone just standing there, sitting there,
Yes.
waiting for us to go to bed, or to
that's very
leave
true.
the boat. Like, I understand like safety reasons and stuff, but I was like, to the owner of the yacht, I was like, let her go to
No,
bed,
that's
please.
very true. And in fact, actually, now thinking about it, I had many situations in which they would make a comment like, oh my God, but did you sleep enough? Like, what time did you go to bed? Or like, oh, you're here already. But again, what are you gonna say about it? You know, that's my job. So that's when I wouldn't. Maybe going back now that I'm a little bit more sassy, maybe I would say something different as a response, like, yeah, no, I didn't sleep enough, but I always said with a smile, yeah, beautiful, I'm happy, it's great. Like, you know. But yeah, it's been noticed actually sometimes about that, like the timings, the working hours, but just noticed. I don't know, it's like a kind of a taboo. Like if you start saying things, you get fired, very likely.
That is wild.
Yeah.
What did you learn about money, being surrounded by billionaires?
About money, well, first of all, that me personally, that it's actually not that hard to make money in terms of like from my experience, because as I said, before I was struggling to just pay my rent, and now I'm like, okay, I can just literally work a season, save some money, and it's not just about yachting. There must be other million ways that you can make money.
Yeah.
Easier.
Go to Australia, work on I had guests once here. They Mari and Jake.
Oh, I know.
They worked at a winery for a season to then afford traveling. And I'm like, there's so many ways. I know this one girl. She works in LA as a waitress. She makes more money than most doctors and lawyers, because she, as a waitress at those poker events for celebrities,
Yes.
and they sometimes, if they win like 200,000 a night, they're like, oh, 20,000 tip.
Yeah.
I was like, what? So that is something important to remember for business positioning. You know, you can be a waitress at Starbucks making, I don't know, minimum wage, or be a waitress at those events.
Exactly. Like there are, for me now, that's probably why also I'm much more relaxed now, not like having left my job. And even though I'm not making an income, I'm very relaxed about the money topic, because I know that somehow, like if I need money, I know where to find them. You know what I mean? Like I'll find a way to find them.
Love that. If I need money, I know where to find it.
Yeah, or like I know that I can find them at least. Then, of course, that money don't buy happiness, but money are not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I love money, in fact, and I can see how many beautiful things you can do with money. But yeah, that. And then that you don't need to be particularly smart or overqualified or lucky to make a lot of money. You can literally be any person and just create something out of your passion, especially if I believe that's the best way, actually, because you can make money through hard work alone. But if you find something that you're actually passionate about, it's just so easy. It would be so easy, and then it's sustainable as well. Because yeah, you can make money by hard work and just strategy and doing something that you're not even passionate about, but just with the goal of money itself. But then you get to the point that you have the money and you are so unhappy with your life and you don't know what to do with it. So my advice is to make money in a way, like to find something that you're super passionate, and then money is just gonna come as a byproduct of you doing the thing that you're passionate about. And that I truly think that you don't need to compromise your health. Like, of course, you always compromise something. As you said, if you want to do something, you need to be willing to pay the price for it, which is the work. But you don't need to compromise your well-being, your sleep, your like basic needs. Absolutely not. Like that is not the only way to make money. 100% not.
What's the best piece of advice that you've learned in terms of health, wealth, relationships? You can pick one category on those yards working for superstars, like something where you had a conversation or someone came over to you and like, do you remember like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about this way.
Health, wealth, and relationships.
It's like I have this closing tradition at this podcast where I ask, what is the if I would be writing a book and I would pass on the best knowledge in terms of health, wealth, or relationship, and you can pick one category, what advice would you put into the book?
Okay, I believe that it is the main priority for every person should always be yourself first and working internally to find a balance with yourself, and then everything else will align. So if it's the money that you want, if it's a relationship, whatever it is that you want, you can have it even through just pushing hard to get it, but then you're going to be unhappy. Then you're going to find a moment in which you feel lost, you don't know what to do with it, you're going to fear losing it as well. But if you just focus on one thing, which is you, and just really being in touch with yourself and feeling good with yourself and being like getting to know yourself, actually, because a lot of people don't even know who they are, really, then everything just aligns so perfectly. And it's not like it's not something up in the air, it's not something spiritual, but it is very, very true. Like once you find your inner peace, money is gonna come. Like everything just comes to you. Because otherwise you can still get the things but be very unhappy. So I recommend to anybody to first work in themselves and then everything follows.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. My key takeaway here today was you can be miserable on a super yacht.
Yes.
And you can be incredibly happy and grateful. So,
Yes.
yeah, Maddy, thank you so much for being here, for sharing about this. I think one of the reasons why you are able to achieve the things that you're achieving so quickly is because of belief. And there's a brilliant book that I recommend to everybody. It's from Dr. Bruce Lipton, The Power of Belief. Have you read it?
I haven't, but I know him.
Yeah, everybody should read it. And it shows you how powerful belief is. And if there is one thing to just say, I believe in something, it's like when your full body really, 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 really embodies it and you feel 100% truth. So key. Every great athlete will tell you that. Yeah, Maddy, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I think there will be some people who are interested in yacht life now, or to get off the yacht as soon as possible.
To get off. I can help with the to get off part.
To get off part,
but,
the other part, you.
Yeah, there are other people I can help you getting on, but yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, and yeah, keep bending the timelines. I love seeing that, and congratulations to all of your success.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you, Maddy.